guys, welcome back. In my previous session, I discussed about digestive glands, mainly about salivary glands, liver, and pancreas. The link is provided in the description. You can watch it for the details. Today, I'll be discussing about the topic digestion of food. This is from the chapter Digestion and Absorption from class 11 biology. Let's start with this. Digestion is the process of breakdown of complex food materials into simpler observable units. The process of digestion occurs by mechanical and biochemical methods. How the food is digested in different parts of the alimentary canal, let's discuss step by step. Here, first of all, digestion of food in buccal cavity. The buccal cavity performs two major functions. The first one, mastication of food and bolus formation. Mastication is nothing but the chewing of food, the crushing and grinding of food inside the oral cavity with the help of teeth. That is what we call mastication of food. During this process, the food mixes up with the saliva and forms a ball-like structure. That ball-like mixture of food and saliva is called bolus. This bolus will enter into pharynx. Then after that into the esophagus when the food is swallowed. So mastication of the food and facilitation of swallowing are the functions of buccal cavity. One important word is used here for swallowing, that is deglutition. So the meanings are same, you should not get confused. Now, when the food passes through the esophagus, successive waves of muscular contractions are observed. So these successive waves of muscular contractions are called peristalsis movements. Very important word. I repeat this again. When the food is passing through the esophagus, successive waves of muscular contractions are seen. Those contractions are called peristalsis movements. Now, the gastroesophageal sphincter controls the passage of food into the stomach. Gastroesophageal sphincter is a circular muscle that normally maintains constriction of the natural passage and relaxes as per required physiological functioning, and this sphincter is present between stomach and esophagus. It is controlling the passage of food into the stomach. After this, inside the oral cavity, saliva is released. Saliva contains water, electrolytes, mucus, some cells and enzymes. So these are the various components present in the saliva. Now let's discuss how the enzymes present in the saliva play their role in the digestion of nutrients. Here, this is what we call biochemical process. When the enzymes are involved in the process of digestion, then those processes are called biochemical processes. Here, 30% of starch is digested into maltose in the oral cavity by the action of enzyme salivary amylase. The salivary amylase enzyme is also called tyalin. This enzyme acts at 6.8 pH. Very important, 30% of starch is digested in oral cavity. Now, another enzyme present in the saliva is lysozyme. It is actually an antibacterial agent. It prevents infection. I repeat it again. Lysozyme acts as an antibacterial agent and thereby prevents infections. Now, moving to the next, digestion of food in stomach. The food that enters into stomach is stored in it for about 4 to 5 hours. The mucosa of stomach has gastric glands. These gastric glands have 3 types of cells, namely mucous neck cells that secrete mucus, peptic or chief cells which secrete pepsinogen, and the third, parietal or oxyntic cells which secrete HCl and Cazel's intrinsic factor. Hydrochloric acid and Cazel's intrinsic factor are secreted by the third type of cells, parietal cells. Cazel is name of the scientist. He is an American physician and physiologist. Intrinsic factor, Cazel's intrinsic factor is a glycoprotein that is essential for absorption of vitamin B12, important for your exams. After this, let's discuss what are the different components present in gastric juice. Gastric juice contains hydrochloric acid, mucus, bicarbonates, enzymes like pepsin, renin in infants, small amounts of lipases. Here, renin is a very important concept. You should not get confused between the two words renin and renin. So, these two words you should not get confused. There is a small difference here in the spelling. Here you will find double N, renin, and here you will find single renin. Okay. So, this double N, renin, is found in the gastric juice of infants and it helps in digestion of milk proteins. And this renin is an enzyme secreted by kidneys that regulates the body's mean arterial blood pressure. So, this is the difference. You should remember it. Very important. Moving to the next, one more very important word here is chyme. It is actually the mixture of partially digested food, hydrochloric acid, water and enzymes. So, partially digested acidic food that is entering into the duodenum from the stomach is chyme. Now, moving to the other aspects, as we discussed here previously, pepsinogen is secreted by peptic cells or chief cells. This pepsinogen is actually, it is a precursor. It is inactive form of enzyme. So, this pepsinogen is converted into active form of enzyme called pepsin in the presence of hydrochloric acid. So, this hydrochloric acid is essential for the conversion of inactive form of enzyme into active form. And this pepsin digests proteins into proteoses and peptones. These two are partially digested proteins. Moving to the next, digestion of food in small intestine. Here, before entering into the details, let's discuss what are the different digestive juices that are secreted into the small intestine lumen. Let's see. The first one, the pancreatic juice. It contains enzymes, inactive enzymes like trypsinogen, chymotrypsinogen, and the other enzymes like procarboxypeptidases, amylases, lipases, nucleases. These are the different types of enzymes present in the pancreatic juice. Here, along with these enzymes, mucus and bicarbonates are also present. These mucus and bicarbonates protects mucosa and also provide an alkaline medium for the digestion of nutrients in small intestine, especially duodenum part of the small intestine. Submucosal glands called Brunner's glands help in this process. Brunner is name of the scientist, Swiss anatomist. So Brunner's glands also help in providing protection to the mucus layer, mucosal layer, and also provides an alkaline medium. So this is about the pancreatic juice, components and their importance. Moving to the next, enterokinase is an enzyme secreted by duodenum that activates trypsinogen into trypsin. Here again, this is inactive form. This is a precursor. So this trypsinogen is converted into active form called trypsin by the action of enzyme enterokinase secreted by duodenum. Now moving to the next, the bile juice. Bile juice components are bile pigments like bilirubin, biliverdin, then bile salts, cholesterol and phospholipids. But there are no enzymes. Very important. Bile juice do not contain enzymes. Important. Moving to the next, bile juice helps in emulsification of fats. This is nothing but large fat globules break down into simpler, tiny fat droplets. That process is called emulsification of fats, and bile salts play a very important role in emulsification of fats. Not only this, bile juice also activates lipases. Important. Moving to the next, intestinal juice or succus entericus. So this is actually the digestive juice secreted by goblet cells and breast border cells. So the goblet cell and breast border cell secretions is succus entericus. Okay. It contains the enzymes like disaccharidases, dipeptidases, lipases, nucleosidases. Like this, several enzymes are present in succus entericus or intestinal juice. Moving to the next, here we can see the different enzymes and how they are digesting the nutrients. Here you can see proteolytic enzymes. The examples are trypsin, chymotrypsin, carboxypeptidase. These are the proteolytic enzymes. It means they digest proteins. Here you can see proteins, peptones, proteoses. So these two are partially digested proteins. So these nutrients break down into dipeptides by the action of enzymes like trypsin, chymotrypsin, carboxypeptidase. Dipeptides are the organic compounds formed by two amino acids that are joined by peptide bond. Okay. Moving to the next, pancreatic amylase. This enzyme digests polysaccharide like starch. Starch is digested by amylases. So starch is breaking down into disaccharides. Disaccharide has two sugar units. Examples like maltose, sucrose. These are examples for disaccharides. Okay. So here starch breaks down into maltose. Maltose is a disaccharide. Now, lipases. Lipases act on lipids, fats. So, these enzymes break down fats into diglycerides and then into monoglycerides. After that, nucleases are the enzymes which break down nucleic acids into nucleotides and nucleosides. Let's continue here how the final complete digestion occurs. Here you can see these dipeptides finally break down into amino acids, the simplest molecules. So, dipeptides break down into amino acids by the action of enzyme dipeptidases. And maltose, this is a disaccharide, it breaks down into glucose and glucose, two glucose molecules by the action of enzyme maltase. Here maltose, lactose, sucrose, these are examples for disaccharides. These three, they are made up of two sugar units, you can see here. Okay. Lactose breaks down into glucose and galactose by the action of enzyme lactase. Sucrose breaks down into glucose and fructose by the action of enzyme sucrase. Nucleotides break down into nucleosides by the action of enzyme nucleotidase, and nucleosides further break down into sugars and bases by the action of enzymes nucleosidases. Here one more, di and monoglycerides break down into fatty acids and glycerol by the action of enzymes lipases. So here you can see these all are the simpler nutrients. These all are simple observable units formed after digestion process. Now, moving to the next, here you should remember one important aspect. Digestion process gets completed in duodenum part, and in jejunum and ileum parts of the small intestine absorption takes place. After that, undigested, unabsorbed waste materials enter into large intestine. Here, feces, undigested, unabsorbed wastes are called feces. They enter into cecum, first part of the large intestine, through ileocecal valve. So, ileum is last part of the small intestine, cecum is first part of the large intestine. So, ileocecal valve is controlling this. Now, functions of large intestine. Absorption of some water, minerals and certain drugs occur in large intestine. Along with this, secretion of mucus also occur. Mucus play a very important role in providing lubrication and easy passage of feces. Here, feces is temporarily stored in the rectum till defecation. This is nothing but the process of egestion of waste from the body through anus. So, this is about the large intestine role. After that, now let's discuss about how these functions of gastrointestinal tract are controlled and coordinated. Let's discuss about this. First of all, neural control. It means nervous system is controlling the functions of different organs of gastrointestinal tract. Let's discuss with few examples. Here you can see the sight, smell and or the presence of food in the oral cavity can stimulate the secretion of saliva. So here sight, smell and the presence of food in the oral cavity. So these conditions are resulting in secretion of saliva. So here nervous system, nerve impulses play important role. And second example, gastric and intestinal secretions are also similarly stimulated by neural signals. The muscular activities can also be moderated by neural mechanisms. Both the local mechanisms and central nervous system also play important role in these neural control. Now, moving to the next, hormonal control. Local hormones produced by the gastric and intestinal mucosa play important role here in the control and coordination part. Some of the hormones like gastrin, cholecystokinin, secretin, they are secreted by gastric and intestinal mucosa. They control functions of some organs of gastrointestinal tract. So this is how neural control and hormonal control are playing very important role in the controlling and coordination of the different organs of the gastrointestinal tract. This is all about today's topic. Now let's discuss some important questions from these topics. First question, about how much percentage of starch is hydrolyzed by the enzyme salivary amylase? Answer is 30%. Second question, intrinsic factor secreted by parietal cells is essential for absorption of? Answer is vitamin B12. Third question, dash found in gastric juice of infants helps in the digestion of milk proteins? Answer is renin. After this next question, trypsinogen is activated into active trypsin by an enzyme called? Answer is enterokinase. The last question, dash hydrolyzes carbohydrates in the chyme into disaccharides? Answer is pancreatic amylase. This is all about today's session. For more videos, please subscribe to my channel. If you liked it, share it with your friends. I'll be back with another session. Have a great day. Thank you all.